Samson was already blind even before the Philistines took his eyes. Judges tells us that the Philistines gouged out Samson's eyes and forced him to grind grain in prison. Judges 16:21. The violence was real and the humiliation was severe, yet when we read his story slowly, within its covenant setting another kind of blindness had been there long before that moment. Samson's calling began with clarity. Before he was born, God announced that he would be set apart as a Nazirite, consecrated from the womb, and that he would begin to deliver Israel from the Philistines. Judges 13:5. His life was marked by divine intention, not accident. He was given signs, clear boundaries meant to shape his identity and guard his mission. But as Samson grew, the story quietly reveals a man who saw yet did not truly see. Again and again, Scripture tells us he saw a woman. Judges 14:1, 16:1. The language is simple, almost repetitive. Samson followed what was pleasing to his eyes, even when it stood in tension with God's instructions and wisdom. When his parents questioned his desire to marry a Philistine woman, Samson answered, "Get her for me, for she is right in my eyes." Judges 14:3. That phrase, "right in my eyes," echoes one of the book's most sobering refrains. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Judges 21:25. This was not merely personal weakness. It reflected a deeper spiritual condition. Samson measured life by desire rather than discernment, an impulse rather than obedience. He treated his calling lightly, touching what was forbidden, playing with secrecy, assuming strength would always be there when needed. His physical eyes worked perfectly, but his spiritual sight had grown dim. Even Delilah was not the sudden cause of his fall. She was the final setting where a long pattern matured. Samson had learned to toy with holy things, to delay obedience, to assume God's presence without honoring word. When he finally told Delilah the truth about his consecration, it was less a moment of trust and more a sign of spiritual exhaustion. Judges records one of the most tragic lines in Scripture. He did not know that the Lord had left him. Judges 16:20. That is blindness, isn't it? Only after his physical sight was taken did Samson begin quietly to see again. In the darkness of prison, stripped of strength and reputation, his hair began to grow. This was not magical restoration, but covenant mercy. God was not finished. Samson's final prayer was not boastful or impulsive. It was dependent. He asked God to remember him. Judges 16:28. In his death, Samson pointed beyond himself. Though he was a flawed deliverer, yet he prefigured a greater one. Where Samson grasped strength and lost it, Christ laid aside strength and fulfilled his mission. Where Samson followed what pleased his eyes, Jesus walked the path set before him by the Father. Where Samson's victory came through death, mixed with judgment, Christ's death brought life, forgiveness, and true sight. Samson's story invites quiet self-examination, not harsh judgment but honest reflection. In our time, we may still see work, ministry, talent, influence, yet slowly lose the ability to discern where God is leading. But the good thing is, often God's mercy does not begin with restored strength, but with restored sight. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God.